the key upshot is that retail, once these reforms are implemented, will not have access to regulated platforms in Hong Kong, at least for the start. And really what that means in practice, though, is that retail will still be able to access offshore exchanges and other platforms which are readily available, as long as those platforms don't actively market into Hong Kong and trigger the jurisdictional nexus of Hong Kong. So that will mean that there's a win for Hong Kong in terms of meeting its AML obligations internationally, but investor protection won't necessarily improve, and indeed it'll be a loss for Hong Kong's innovative environment. So my great hope is that we'll have staged implementation, as has been proposed, where we'll start with professional investors and then hopefully expand to retail once the regulator is comfortable with that. The enormity of the market that is out there and available at the click of a button is what makes these reforms not necessarily address systemic risk at all. And that is a problem. Well, look, so then you look at why these reforms are being implemented, and that is being driven largely by the recommendations of the Financial Action Task Force, and Hong Kong quite rightly seeks to respond to the evolving threats that occur on the money laundering and terrorist financing front. But at the same time, there's other important aspects of regulation, which is around investor protection and the integrity of the market. There's no need to panic, of course, but there's still some way to go. If we look at OTC derivatives reforms, we're 10 years in and still no licensing framework. So this, will yet to come in the coming months. But look, there is a very strong reform agenda in Hong Kong. This needs to be done, ideally before FATF comes back and assesses Hong Kong again. So it will be swifter than OTC derivatives. But look, what I would be looking at is what are your other options and what is the quality of those other options? And usually, one of the key things we'd say is look at their regulatory status. And that's what makes it a shame that they won't have that ability to find those regulated platforms close to home, which is problematic. But really doing homework, really understanding what's out there, what services are provided, looking at the track record of the platforms that are available, how do they protect their assets, what do their terms look like? There are some awful terms that are out there that provide no protection whatsoever. So be doing your homework, understanding, what it might mean if you need to withdraw assets reasonably quickly. But also I'd say is that usually there's a staged implementation. So there will be a phase-in period of any new regulation during which there'll be time for retail investors to be able to reorganize their affairs.